Hey everyone, so this is actually what we will create. So this is a page with very simple layout. We have a navigation at the top, then we have some sort of hero section, basically describing your company. Then we have some sort of about us section with some text and some nice image. Then we have our services section where we have all of the things that we can do. And then we have the contact us. And lastly, we have the footer with some social icons. So yeah, this is pretty much what we will create in the next hour or so. Alright, so I've got the main.css and the index.html file in this folder. I've also got in the images the main.png, which is the main background image that we will use across the whole project. Okay, so this will be the background of our whole page. So yeah, that's cool, and let me actually start out. So I will start out by actually saying that the background image I've made by some vectors from this page. So I've downloaded these vectors and actually edited it out so that it looks as a background, and I wanted to ask you, first of all, whether you would like me to make a video about how I actually made the background. So if you do, feel free to comment down below. But with that being said, let me also add this, the attribution, because we can use this for free, but we need to attribute the author. So if you click on this, it will ask you to download it, but in here is the link that you need to paste inside your project in order to kind of say that that you want to attribute the author. So we will start by creating an HTML tag, then we will have our head, and then underneath we will have our body. So body like this, and at the end of the body we will have some sort of footer, and inside of this footer we will have some sort of div with the class of attribution, and inside here I will just paste this link so that the author can actually also enjoy their credits. So yeah, cool. With that, let me just actually start out by linking the style sheet that we have. So we will create a new link in the head with the relation being style sheet, and the source, or the href in this case, will be in CSS and main.css. So this is the main page of ours, okay, or the main CSS. So I will just close this thing so you can see better. Cool. So with that, I will just close this thing and show you another thing that I use, which is the page colors.com. I've used the background color from the image and actually generated some sort of colors that go nicely with this color that I've used. So I will use these colors in the project. So I will just keep this window open so that I can actually use it. Okay, so with that, let me actually install get the Bootstrap. We are using the version 4.4, actually the newest one, I think it should be. So let me just copy paste it into our project like that, simple as that. And let me actually take the JavaScript also. So I will just copy paste this whole thing at the end. So underneath the footer, we will have these JavaScripts. Cool, so that's about it. So let me also import the Google fonts that we will use. I use, once again, Google fonts in order to import some sort of font into our website. Let's just use the Railway font for this sort of website. I will just select the 400. We can also use let's go with the 700, and with the there is 900. Yeah, there is. So let's go with 900. And so let me just go into this embedded tag, and inside here is the link that we want to just simply copy paste, and we will have the link ready to go. So the fonts ready to go. Let me just add the title to the page. So this should be something like new energy theme, and yeah, so you can obviously call it however you want. So with this, let me just actually start styling the page a bit by just adding to the body the background that we have created, and also we want to set the font size, so on font style. So font family will be the railway. I just copied it from this page, so I can close this now. And also we can just set the background image. So background image will be our URL, and inside here we just want to paste the path to the image. So image, and then should be main.png if I'm not mistaken. So if I save this thing and reload this thing, okay, there's really nothing going on. So let me just style the background a bit. So the background repeat should be no repeat, okay, and also the background size should be 100% of the width, and the height should be kind of automatic, right? So auto, like this. And let me actually reload the page, see how it looks like now. All right, we don't have this. So where's the problem? So if I just go to the path, we have the image folder, and inside we have main.png. So let me actually start out the developer tools. So just to see whether we are not cached. So if I reload the page, so empty cache and hard reload, we still get the same thing. Okay, so if we take a look at the Google console, okay, so inside here in the developer tools, go to the console tab, you can see that some resources were not loaded, and it can say that the request to get this file, right, so in image/main.png was not found. And if you take a look at the path, you can see that we are in the CSS folder, and then inside it we are looking for the image and then main.png. But if we take a look at these directories, we can see that the image is away from the CSS folder, okay? So we need to actually go back one step, right? So away from the CSS folder, then go to the image folder, and then get the actual background. So if I reload the page, there we have it. It takes a while to load because it's a fairly large image. You could convert it into a JPEG so that it loads faster, so that it is actually a smaller file. But for now, I just want to keep it this way, and later on I will actually create a loader, so a spinner loader, so that user actually don't see how the page looks like when it isn't really loaded. But yeah, cool. We currently have the background image ready to go. So let me just start out currently by actually importing one last thing, which is the font awesome icons. So inside here I will just copy this link. Feel free to just find something like this by just typing font awesome CSS link into Google, and it should show you some resource like this where you can just simply put it inside of your project, and also let's add the relation to it, so it's style sheet, so that the browser actually knows this, that this is a style sheet. Cool. So with all of that, let me once again also find a font awesome documentation for the version of 4.7.0, right? Inside here we have the version, and there are a couple of versions, right, as you can see in here, and we don't want to use this version 5.13. We want to use the version of 4.0.0. So in order to do that, you can simply just click on this older version, so 4.7.0, and it will take you to this page. In here you can just go to icons, and you can then search out for different icons that you may want to use in your project. Cool. So with that, let me just get the navigation bar. So inside here I will just type the navbar and simply just copy paste one of the navigation bars that we can find. let's go with this one. We can just edit it out later in our project. Feel free to just go around and just check out all of those different navigation bars that you may want to use in your project. I will just take the first one and paste it so that it is faster. Let me just get rid of this stuff because we don't need it. It's like a drop down link and a disabled link, but we really don't need it. Let me just copy paste a couple of these. So if I reload the page, it should take once again a while to load because the image is really big, but we can see the navbar in here, and then in the background there is the image. So with that being said, let me just move these links to the right. So instead of margin right auto, we want margin left auto. That should move it towards the left. So right, and let me also remove this form because we don't really need it. So cool, that's about it. So let's just reload the page, see how it looks like. There we have it. Another thing that we may want to do is just add a div with the class of container. And inside the container, we want to put everything that we have in here. So I will just control exit into the container like this, and it should put a bit of space around it, a bit of margin around it, so that it looks a bit better. Also, we can add some sort of margin to these. I will just remove the active one, and let's just add a margin on the x-axis to every one of these links, and I will just simply paste it everywhere. So let's see how it looks like, because these links are kind of close together right now. There is a bit more space, and it looks better in my opinion. So I'll just keep it this way. Also, I will just change this navbar to something like new, and then inside a span we will have a energy like this, and in there something was pasted, right? And this, we don't want that. So let's just remove this thing, and let's see how it looks like now. It should be just new energy. Yeah, nothing too complicated about it. We will style it in our CSS later on. So we can maybe add some sort of padding to the actual navbar. So inside here, we may want to just delete this background and just change it to transparent, so that we can see the actual body background. So this end of the image. Okay, there we have it. It looks cool. So let's just keep it transparent. We can just keep the navbar aligned, or we can just remove it and then style it later on in the CSS. And yeah, let me just add some padding on the y-axis so that the navigation looks a bit larger. So padding on the y-axis of around 3. Okay, there is a bit of space around this. So yeah, that's cool. Let me just keep it this way, and that's about the navigation. So navigation or navbar basically done. Let's just move on to the hero section. So let's just create a new comment for the hero part of our website, and let's just create a new section, and this one will have the class of hero like this. And let me just do a couple of things in here. So I will just create a new div with the class of container once again, so that we have space around the element and that we are just like keeping it the same way, right? The website. Then I will inside of it create a new div with the class row. So I will split the row into 12 pieces, and then I will create a new div with the class call of medium of 6. So it will take about half of the screen. We can then maybe change it out to see just how it looks like. Okay, and then we can just add maybe some sort of div inside of it with a lot of padding on, well, from all of the directions. So it will have a lot of padding from every direction. Okay, you can specify it by just typing, if you type padding on the y-axis or padding on the x-axis like this, right? Or you can just padding left, padding right. A lot of classes, it's kind of straightforward, right? And the number kind of suggests how big the padding should be, right? It goes from 1 to 5. So 5 is actually the biggest one. And inside of it, we will have some sort of heading that will say the new energy or something like this. And we can maybe put the energy into a span just to make it then inside of our CSS look a bit better. It might look cool. Then we may want to add some sort of another heading, some sort of other punchline, something like coming soon to your city or whatever. And yeah, then we even may want to add some sort of paragraph to it. So maybe just paragraph. I will just get some lorem ipsum text. So lorem ipsum generator like this, and inside here we have the check generator. Obviously, if you just type in lorem ipsum, you should be able to find some sort of generator right away. And yeah, I will just copy paste it into the project, and there we have it. So that's some of our text. Another thing that we may want to add is some sort of button and some sort of social links, probably. Let's just reload the page, see how it looks like. So we have a lot of space around it. It looks kind of nice. If we move it downwards a little bit, we may want to add some sort of padding to the paragraph. So we want the padding from right axis, and let's just try it to make it a lot larger. And inside here, we may want to just remove the padding from left. So we want the padding from left to be 0. So let's just see how it looks like, so that it is okay. So we cannot just do padding from left. So we have to do it like this, padding from right, and padding on y-axis should be 5. Let's see how that looks like. So if I reload the page, and okay, there we have it. So we have a bit of padding, right? We've removed the padding, and we kept the padding from top, from bottom, and from right. Okay, we can maybe just add some sort of margin to this. So margin right. Let's just see whether that actually works, because I'm having some second thought about this. If I reload the page, there we have it. There's added some margin, and it looks much better. Okay, and yeah, if we can just move it down by a bit more, so I can just add some sort of margin at top of 5 to this, and let's see how it looks like now, because we need to move this more towards the end of the screen. So let's just make this row relative, and yeah, and this one we can style it as a absolute thing. So yeah, let's just keep it this way. We will style it later on in our CSS. So another thing that we will create is the social icons for this. So social icons, and let's just add the hero to the end of this, because we may want to add some other social links, for example, into the footer, and we want to style them differently. So that's why I will just keep this one differently, and so name this one differently, so that we can style them later on differently. And in here I will just create a link. Obviously you want to add some sort of href to it, and I will just add the font awesome Facebook icon. You can maybe put this inside of a span, so that we can style it, or inside of a div, so that we can actually style it out, right? Because link is a inline element, and we would like probably some sort of block element to style. So let's just copy paste these, so that we have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram like this. So let's just save this thing, reload, and see how it looks like. We should be able to see some sort of icons. There we have them. Okay. Yeah, so I think that we can also display these as a inline block. So I'm not sure actually about the right class, so I will just type in here the display property into the documentation of Bootstrap, and I will just go in here, and we want this to be display of inline block, and if I'm not mistaken, it should be display inline block. So wow, let's see. I cannot find it anywhere, so let's just try to go with the slash inline block. So I will just type D and then inline and block. Let's see how it looks like. If we also need to obviously put it to every one of these. So I'll just copy paste it and put it in here and in here. And let's see how it looks like now, whether that actually works. Yeah, I think it should work. I think it should. There we have it. So cool. We can maybe add this style sheet of ours to the complete end of this head, so that the icons actually load faster than the image on the background, because it takes a while for the background image to actually load. So yeah, this is probably better. Okay, so with the HTML being done, we can just style it out in our CSS. So I will just go in here and type in here the navigation as a navigation bar, and we want basically we want every link on the page to have some sort of style. And if I go to these colors, I think that the black one might do the trick. So if I type in here color and then hashtag and this one, let's see how it looks like. So if I reload the page, it should be black. There we have it. I think it looks much better, and I think the color looks good even on these backgrounds. So with that, let me actually style the navling, so navigation bar, so navbar brand. That's one thing that we need to style, and let's just add a font size to it of just 1.5 relative, and let's also add the font weight to it, and let's just make it 700, and let's see how this would look like, because it's currently very small. Yeah, that looks better. So let's just keep it this way, and let's also style the navling, if I'm not mistaken. So navling and this one, let's see how they look like now. Okay, let's see, what do you want to do? We may want to just once again change the font size of these so that they are a bit larger, to at least 1.1, and we also may want to change the font weight. So if I reload the page, let's see how that would look like. Okay, I think it looks interesting, but we may actually want to just keep it without this font weight, right? Let's just keep it simple at those 400. So that should look, maybe that looked better in my opinion. Yeah, this looks kind of nice and clean. So I will just keep it this way. You may want to just get rid of this of the last margin. So let's just go here, and inside here, instead of margin X, we just want to put margin left, right? So the last link will have space only from left, not from right, because we've already added it as a container, and this should look better. So yeah, there we have it. So let me style the hero section. So if I go back to the index, we can maybe add some padding to this whole section. So padding on the y-axis of 5, and that should move everything a bit down, right? That kind of makes sense. It looks kind of good. So I will just keep it this way, and then we can just style it out a little bit. So we can maybe just target this div. So let's just add the class of hero content to this, and then inside here I will just type the hero content, and we can just add some margin top, because we need to move this like at least this amount. Let's see, we can just experiment with this a bit, probably even more. Let's just go with something like 4, and Then we also need to change these headings and the text. So yeah, I think that the margin top of 4 looks good. Then we need to target the H1 inside of the content, so the biggest heading, and let's just add the font weight of it, and let's set it to 900, so the biggest one. And let's also set the font size to, let's say, 3 rems. Let's see how that would look like. So if I save this and reload the page, there we have it. I think it looks kind of cool. We can maybe make it even larger. So let's just say 5 rems. But this may be too large. Yeah, there we have it. It's probably too large. We want this to be at the one line, so let's just keep it like at 3.5. Let's see how that would look like. Okay, so let's just make it 3. No, okay, 3.5 looks good. Yeah, it looks kind of nice. We can now maybe change the hero content, the heading of level 3, and let's just say that the font size or font weight will be 700. Let's see how that will look like. So we will make this one a bit bolder. Okay, it looks nice. That looks nice. Let's keep it this way. And the text also looks very, very nice. So let me just style out those social icons. So inside here, we should have social links hero class. And let me just check whether I got this correctly. Social icons. Okay, so sorry about it. So social icons, and we want to target, what do we want to target? Well, probably the div inside, so the div, and we may want to actually in here just add the padding to it. So let's just say that there will be a padding of 3. Let's just see how it looks like now. The first one should have the padding added to it. Okay, there we have it. It looks much better. So let me just add it to every one of these. And we can maybe just add some, let's just in here, just add some border to it. And this can be just 1 pixel and solid. And then the black color that we've used. Let's see how it looks like now. Okay, we don't want to target this one. We want to target the div. So the div element. So if I reload the page again, there we have it. And let's just make it circle. I think circles look cool. So let's just say that border radius. Border radius instead of style. And let's just make it 50%. So that it is a circle. You can use the class, Bootstrap class of rounded circle. That looks better. But with that, wow, I think that the Facebook actually have a bit of, the icon doesn't look so good. So let me just go ahead and search for the Facebook icon. Maybe the square will look better. So let's just go with Facebook official or Facebook square. Let's see. So if I go back to the index and inside here, I will just go here and change this to Facebook square. And reload the page. Let's see how that looks like now. We may want to also add some sort of margin to these links because they probably need some margin. But yeah, I think that this looks cool. So let's just go with that. And let me just add some margin on the y-axis. And let's just go with 3 so that we are keeping the sizes consistent throughout the whole page. Okay, so let's just go with 3. Let's see. That's maybe too much. Yeah, that's probably too much. So let's just go with margin on the left axis. Or sorry, margin from right. And let's maybe make it like just 2 because the margin of 3 is probably too much. So margin from right, and let's make it just 2. That might be once again too little, so you never know. You can just try it out and see, but I will just keep it this way. I think that this looks kind of nice, and I will add some sort of margin to this one or some sort of padding on the y-axis to this one. It pretty much doesn't matter whether we use margin or padding in this case. So I will just move it down a bit from the text. Yeah, that looks cool. That looks cool. I will keep it this way. And we can maybe even add some sort of background color to the div. So let's just try to make the background color look the same way as with these images. So let's just go to the colors and let's maybe just copy paste this one just to see how it might look. This is basically the primary color that we are using in here. So it might look nice, but it also might not. We'll find out. Yeah, I think that it probably looked better just simpler, right, without the background color. I will leave it up to you whether you want to keep it this way or not, but I will just remove it. I think that it looked better. So yeah, that's basically the hero part of our page taken care of, and let's just move on to the About Us. Okay, so let me start out by creating the comments, so About Us section, and right now let's just create the section tag with the class of About, and let's just add some padding on the y-axis to it. We probably even want to add some margin on the y-axis to this because we need a lot of space in here, right? So let's just add a lot of these, and then we will just create a new div with the class of container, and inside the container we want to actually create a new div with the class of row, so row, and we want to justify the content to end. So basically what this does, well, it just takes, once again, it splits the row into 12 pieces, and the justify content end basically means that we will start filling from the end. Okay, so from right to left, we will fill from right to left. And if I just, for example, just use the div with the class of call, let's just use medium 6, we will have the div placed in the right part. Okay, so it will take the right half of the screen, if that makes sense. So inside here I will just type the h2. We can maybe add some class to it, so let's just call this one section heading, and let's just say that this is About Us, and let's reload the page and actually see how it looks like. So if I reload the page, we may want to add a bit more space to this, but let's just find out. So the loading really takes a lot of time, so we definitely need some sort of preloader for this. But as you can see, the About Us is still quite high. I would like this to be pretty much at the end of the screen currently. So let's just add some sort of margin to this. So the padding on y-axis of this one, and maybe even margin on the y-axis, or overall, let's just go with, yeah, with margin of overall of 5, and this should look much better. So we would have some sort of about page or About Us. There we have it, and it's down quite a lot, right? It's down quite a lot. So in the meantime, I can just add some paragraphs to this while it doesn't load. So right now it loaded. And it looks kind of nice. We can keep it this way. We will style the heading later on, and we definitely need some sort of paragraphs added to this. So we may want to even move this heading down a bit more. So let's just see if I add some margin at the top of this, and maybe even some padding at the top. This might be moving it's down too much. But for now, I will just reload the page and copy paste some sort of lorem ipsum, just for the page to actually have some text around it. So there we have it. It's down a lot, but it might look actually somehow cool. Let's see. There we have it. I think it will look okay. So let's just go with that. I've added some text, and let's just add some sort of button to this. So actually a link that will be styled as a button. So href, I will leave it up to you to figure this one out. And inside here we also want to add some sort of classes to this, and this will be a button, and it will be the button main. So we will style it in our CSS, and let's just call this one get started. So yeah, let's just keep it this way. We may want to add some sort of text around it, so some more text. Eventually I just decided to go with 2 paragraphs and with a div that have the call MD of 4. Okay, so it's like a bit smaller div. Okay, so if we go back here, you can see that it looks like this now. And so let me actually style it in our main.css. So let me just go in here and inside the about, let me just style it out. So we have some sort of section heading in here. So let me just target where the about, the section heading, like this. And inside here, I want to set the font weight of this to be at least 700, so that it is much bolder. Currently it's very thin, if you want. So yeah, that's much bolder. And let me actually test out one thing that I just wanted to try, which is to actually let the computer cache out those things. So I will just close this, and maybe that will speed things up. The section heading, in my opinion, should be larger. So let's just add the font size. Let's just change it. So font size, let's make it 2 rem. And let's see how that looks like. Okay, there's pretty much no change, so it was probably cached. So if I just had to, I probably had to just start out the developer tools again. And even though it will load a bit slowly, we have to kind of use this. So let's see. Wow, there's pretty much no visible change. So let me just change it a lot, just so that, okay, there we have it. So that's much larger. And I think that this might actually work. The large text might look okay, but probably we just want to use something like the heading of the H1. So what we used with the H1, which is 3.5. So let's just go with 3.5 in here with these section headings. And let me also go back here and let's just add some sort of padding to those paragraphs. So with every one of these paragraphs, I will just add, let's say, margin on the y-axis of 3. Okay, so both of these will have the margin added so that there is a bit of space between them. Currently, they are quite close to each other. So there we have it, and let me just style the button. So I will just go to the main.css and style out the button. So the button main will have the background color of, let's go with the dark one, okay, and the color of the text will be the blue one. So let's just go here. Let me just copy paste this one. So copy and paste it inside here. And obviously we want to look it like this, and let's see how it looks like. I think it should look kind of cool. There we have it. The color, we should probably go with white color. So just like that will look definitely better. We want to change the font size of this. So font size, we want this to be, let's go with 1.3 rems. And let's also change it in the index. So inside here, let me just add some padding on the y-axis of, let's go with 2, and padding on the x-axis with, let's say, 4. Let's see how that would look like. Okay, there we have it. It's much larger now, and it looks kind of cool in my opinion. You can even try to add the padding on the x-axis even larger, and going with 5. It looks all right in my opinion. We can make this work. So yeah, let's just go with that. I think that this looks actually kind of cool. We can maybe move this whole thing down by a little bit. So let's just wow. let's just add some sort of padding at the top of this. So padding top of this whole div, and let's just go with 3. And I think that this should move this down a little bit so that we are, I would like the button to be pretty much at the same height of this image. And sadly, this is not a image. If this was a image, like an HTML5 tag, it would be very easy to actually style this out. But this is just a background. Okay, so it's a bit tricky to actually style this thing out because you have kind of no idea, no clue how it will look like in the end. So yeah, but I think that the About Us section of the web is pretty much ready to go. It's up to you whether you want to use that amount of text. You could maybe use a bit less text and space it out more. So that's up to you. If you want to do that, feel free to do so, but I will just keep it this way, and I will move on to the services section. So inside here, I will create a new section with the class called services. And I will add definitely some padding on the y-axis and also some margin on the y-axis so that we have some space around it. And let me actually just add the same thing to the footer. So padding on y-axis will be 5. And also margin on the y-axis will be also 5. And so let's just go ahead and start out those services. So inside here, we definitely want to have some sort of section heading. So h2 with the class of section heading, and we want this to have some sort of padding around it definitely. So inside here I will just type services and let me reload the page and see how it looks like. It should be underneath this. Okay, we definitely need to style it inside to move it towards the center. But I think that this should look cool. So if I just move it to text center like this, and we definitely want to add the container. So div with the class of container. Right now, when we style the heading towards the center, it pretty much doesn't matter whether it's in container or not. But I will just move it in there, and I will also add some padding on the y-axis of 5. Margin on the y-axis of 5 to the container so that we have a bit more space. Yeah, there we have it. I think it looks cool. So it should be somewhere around here if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there we have it. So yeah, that looks nice. But I think that we can just go ahead and change this to just the section heading so that we are actually using the same CSS style for every section heading on the page. So let's just go with that. Yeah, let me just style out those things. So inside here, I will have a new div with the class of row. And let me also add some padding and some, yeah, let's just do it this way. There shouldn't be any space, and let me close the tag like this. And inside here we will have our different services. So we will have a service called how do I call it? So we will have the, let's just go with 3 services per every line. So call 3, and let's just go with middle. So call middle 4 like this. And that should make the one service, and then inside of here we will have some sort of padding around this. Then we can just maybe add some sort of space. So we want to have, let's just go with padding around here, and let me just see how the shadow would look like if we had it in shadow. Then I also need the div with the class of service icon. So let's just call it like this, service icon, and in here we will have the icon that we actually want to style. So this one can be just FA, and let's just use fire because that's the one I remember. Then underneath we will have the actual body. So div with the class of service body. and inside of this div we will have some sort of h3 heading. Inside we will just call this one service, and some sort of small text basically describing the service. So let's just go into the alarm ipsum generator, and let's just see let's just copy paste some text basically. Obviously you probably don't have this page, okay? That's just because I'm from Czech Republic. I've got this page as a #1 in search results. You will probably have some sort of different page, so feel free to just copy paste the link, right, or simply just retype the link that I had in the URL, or just find some sort of different site. I think that there is plenty of them, so you don't have to worry about having problems finding them. So maybe if I add margin in here, it might look better. Okay. And then we definitely need to add some sort of padding. So let's just add some margin and some padding also. So padding from every direction we want to be free, and we want also the margin from every direction to be free. So let's just do it this way. Let's reload the page, see how it looks like. Nice. Nice and clean. We probably want to move the text into center, right? So let's just type in here text center. Nice, like this. And yeah, so that's about it. We should have, yeah, there it is. So nice. Right now, let's also style it out a little bit by just making it rounded. So if I just type in here rounded, I think that this should make it a bit rounded. Yeah, I think that there is a bit of, let me just go to the get bootstrap, and let's just see what are all of the classes, right? So let's go to the documentation tab, and inside just type in here the rounded. Obviously I don't see I don't know every class that is available. So rounded should add some rounded, yeah, so it should add some border radius, right? So let's just use the large. So rounded and then large. That should look better, because currently we pretty much don't see it, right? Maybe that there is a bit of rounding around it, but yeah, it really isn't seen. So I will just remove this and style it later on in our CSS. So let me just call this one service article, or yeah, or let's just call it service. That should be better. So service, and we will style it in our CSS. So let me actually just do it right now. So I will just type in here services, so that we know where to look for, and if we want to change this later on. So I will just type in here the service, and let's just go with border radius, and let's just say 1 rem. So let's see how that would look like if I reload the page. There we have it. That looks much better. It's also a lot larger, so currently we are able to actually see this. If I go with 2 rems, I think that this would be too much probably. Oh, it still doesn't look, it still looks kind of cool. So I will go with 2 rems. I think that this looks nice. And let me also style the icon. So service and the icon inside, and I will just type in here the font size. I will change it to definitely at least 2, maybe even 3. Let's just try out 3 from the start. It should get a lot larger, and we probably want to add some sort of padding to it. So inside here we want to have the padding on y-axis of at least 3, so that there is a bit of space between this and the service. And I think that we went a bit too far with the icon size. So let's just go with 2. That might look better. And overall, I kind of like how it looks. I kind of like how simple it is. So I will probably just keep it this way and simply just copy paste these. So yeah. Okay, so I have copy pasted all of these services, changes some icon. change the icon, and let me actually try to change the font weight of the heading, because I think it might look better if we just change it. So service and then H3 inside, and we would like to change the font weight to 700, and let's see how that would look like to make it a bit bolder, right? And yeah, I think that this looks actually better, so let's just go with that. I think that this looks better, so let's just go with that. Yeah. Okay, so let's just move on to the last part of our web, which is kind of the footer and the contact form. So inside here, I will just type in here the contact. So we will create a new form for this. So we will create once again a section with the class of contact, and we will add some padding on the y-axis to it and some margin on the y-axis to this, like this. And let's also create a div with the class of row, and let's just justify the content to center. So justify content center. And what this justify content center basically does is that if we have, for example, only a call that takes only 6 pieces from those 12 available, it will style it, it will move it basically in the center. So there will be like 3 pieces of margin kind of on left and 3 pieces on right. So you can see it like this. So if I just type in here div with the class of call md6, it should just move it into the center of the page. Okay, cool. So inside here, I will just create a new class or let's just create a new form, right? Because we will just send it out, and we will just type in here the input and stuff like that. But I will just also add the heading to this. So the h2 with the class of section heading, and let's just type contact us, and let's see how that will look like. If I reload the page, there should be a lot of space. There it is, but we need to move this to center. So text center, and yeah, we probably also want to add this into the container, just to keep things consistent. So container, and I will just move everything inside of this. So Control X and Control V, and let's reload the page. We should have the contact us right here. There we have it. So let's just wait for the background to actually load. It really takes up a lot of time, because it's probably because I'm recording. Okay, if I was just creating the website, it wouldn't take too long to load actually. So that long to load. So let me just add some padding to it so that we move it actually inside of the blue background. Yeah, there we have it. So that looks nice. All right, and let me just start out by creating a divs with the input form. So let's just call this one input group, and inside of the div we will have a label and a input. So once again, you want to probably just add some names into it, like the type of the input, stuff like that. I may want to just add some sort of placeholder, just so that we are on the same page. So let's just type in here email, and inside the label we will also add your email. Okay, so that's one of the input. Let me just add a couple of these so that there's like 3 of them. There should be like, let's say, name and your problem or whatever he wants. Then we will have some sort of your message. And inside of this, we will not use input, but we will use a text area. And the text area will once again have some placeholder. And this one will say just This one will say just your message. And yeah, and at the end we obviously want to have some sort of button. So button, and with the class of btn and btn main, and we will have just some sort of send text. So let's just save this, reload the page, and see how it looks like. There we have it. So this is just our basic style. And if I change this to A, I think that the button has some sort of default setting, or it doesn't. Yeah, probably it doesn't. So that's weird. So yeah, it looks the same way if I display it as a link. So yeah, let's just go with button, and we can style it. We can just, oh yeah, we probably want to add the padding, right? So the padding, that's why it looks differently. So we want the padding on the y-axis to be 2, if I'm not mistaken, and the padding on the x-axis to be 4. That should do the trick. So let's just reload the page, see how it looks like. If that's it, let's just make the padding even larger. I think we went with 5. Yeah, if I remember correctly, we went with 5. Also, let me just move this into center. So with this div, I will just add the class of text center, and so that should move the button to the center of the page. Cool. And let me also add some sort of margin to these groups. So margin on the y-axis should be at least like 3, just to separate those inputs from each other, just to have a bit of space around them. It should be better for the user to navigate this, actually. So if I reload the page, there we have it with a bit of space. Cool. So right now, let me just inside the main.css style this thing. So I will just go ahead and start out the contact and style this one out. So we want to, if I remember correctly, we've had like the contact class, and we want to style those inputs, and we would also like to style the text area. So text area, and let's just see whether that's properly. Yeah, we have a contact class here, and we would like to target every input and the text area that we have around here. So cool. Inside here, we would like to actually add some padding to it. So on the x-axis, we will just make it 1 rem, and on the y-axis, let's just make it something smaller, probably. So let's just see how that would look like. Pretty much no change. So let's just change the font size, so that we have the text a lot larger. So let's just go with 1.3 rem, and let's just say that the width, so width will be 100%, so that we have it spaced on the whole area available. But we cannot seem to target contact, obviously, so that was the mistake. So let's just see right now. Yeah, that looks much better, much better. It's up to you whether you want to keep it this way, or whether you want to style it out a little bit more. We probably want to just move the contact form a bit downward, right? So let's just add some sort of padding to it, just so that it is down, or some margin from the top of 5, and let's just add in padding at the top of 5, so that it is moved a bit down. Yeah, and we also want the heading. So so let's just move it inside here, and let's actually delete it from here, or maybe we can just keep the margin. That might look cool. So let's just reload the page, see how it looks like. Whoa. Okay, so there has to be a space, so my bad. Let's just reload the page, see how it looks like now. Yeah, there we have it. I think that there should be enough space between the blue. Yeah, there we have it. It looks nice. I think it looks nice. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. So let me just go ahead and finish up by creating the footer. So this is the contact, and let me just go ahead and actually target the footer. So we will have a comment called footer, and let me just style this thing out. So once again, we can have a div with the class of row, and inside of this I will have a div with the class of call md6, so that even on middle devices it will take about half of the screen. And what we want to do is actually have some sort of h4, let's go with h4 heading for the navbar, or maybe we can just type in here the section heading, yeah, for the brand. So yeah, let's just use h2, and with the class of section heading, I think that this should look nice. And inside of this, we want to actually type the name of our website. I forgot what it was. So new energy, cool, new energy. So let's just type in here new energy, like this. Save this thing, reload it, and let's see whether we have that. Okay, we forgot about the container. So div with the class of container, right? You can very nicely see that it is right at the edge of the page, so you definitely want to put this inside a container, put a bit of space between the row and between the actual end of the screen, if you want. So if I just pasted everything inside of it, yeah, there we have it. There's a bit of space now, and it's styled fairly nicely. Let's just keep it this way. We may want to add some sort of paragraph to this, and we may want to add some social icons. So let me just actually copy this whole thing. I think that it should look actually quite nice. So if I just copy it even with the paragraph, that should do the job. So if I copy paste it right here, you obviously want to write some custom text, something about your brand, why is it great, why you want to use it as a customer, as a potential customer. And yeah, so that's about it. We've run out of the background. So we definitely don't want the margin at the bottom, and we don't want the padding at the bottom. We just want it at top. And let's just see if we go down there. Let's see how it looks. We definitely need to add some sort of attribution to me for creating this, right? So created or made by me. And we want to add the copy sign 2020, that's the year, and all rights reserved, so that we are legally protected. Cool. So if I reload the page, hopefully it will fit the background so that we don't yeah, it didn't, so we need to actually remove a bit of those space, and let me just do it in the contact. So inside here I will just remove the margin at top, and let's see how it looks now. So if I just reload the page, I think it should work. So currently I think that there should be plenty of space for the for the background. There we have it. So we are ending at the blue background, and the form looks still very nice. Yeah, so that's about it. That's pretty much the whole page.